Okay, we have a quorum.
Are we ready now? If we can call the
Yes,
meeting to
ma'am.
order, and if you do roll call, Melissa,
Sure. Deborah Wilson,
present.
Jason Tipton,
Present.
Vanessa McCutcheon,
Present.
Ashley Hickok,
Present.
Deborah Mercer. Thank you, ma'am.
Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay. So for board organizational matters, is that lady on here, or are you going to give a report, Vanessa?
Is Michaela on?
I don't see her.
I don't
can't
see her.
Um,
No.
Well, I know they had a meeting last week to talk about the air purifiers, but I was unable to attend. Rudy, I don't know if you were able to attend and have an update on that.
I was there. They kind of tabled it for now, with certain concerns over size, noise, and whatnot. But they have decided to order one for the office, and we'll put it in the office. And the teachers can come by, take a look at it. We can get a feel for the size and the noise of it to see whether or not it'll work. And then if it gets a positive view, the thought would be to purchase them maybe over the summer and have them in place for the new school year in the fall. So that's what they decided on the air purifiers.
Okay.
Okay, Stampede moments, Rebecca, the best part.
Hello, everyone. Two big things going on for us, for the staff. They are very excited. Most of them have opted in for their first round of the vaccine. So that happened last week and they were really excited. Lots of posts on social media and chatter around the building. So they're looking forward to their second dose here in a couple of weeks. And something that we are so looking forward to, the day before spring break, our entire school is going on a virtual field trip. Every single classroom and all the grade levels are planning just a really fun day. K2 is working on something cohesively as a wing, and several examples in middle school where they are going on some what would typically be in-person trips they were able to plan virtually. So we're really looking forward to just a fun day, no pressure, just lots of activities and relaxing.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good day.
How are things going?
They're really good. You know, K2 has really or K5, excuse me, has really hit a flow with coming in every day. It's been really nice to be at the front door and see all the students come in. And I mean, there's just a really good rhythm in place right now.
Good. Anybody have questions for Rebecca? You do not have to stay, Rebecca. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Can we see your baby, please?
Let's see the
There he is.
baby.
Oh, he's not even a baby anymore.
No. Say bye-bye.
Oh, he's so cute.
Thank you all so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Rudy, are you ready for your principal report?
Oh, yes. What a letdown I am after that, right? Wow. Just a quick word. I emailed you guys out something just a little while ago. I realized, we normally do this in person. I bring you sheets of paper to look at. And then I realized, well, I can't bring you sheets of paper to look at today. So I sent created this little PowerPoint where I'll go over for our school improvement plan. And the second part of my thing, we'll do the principal report first, and then we'll do this. And so that you can see that. But if you like it better, you've got a PDF in your email, so you can look at it more with more detail later if you wish. So first part, the regular principal report. Enrollment still going very, very strong for the school year. It's very interesting to see how it operated this year, but it has been going great. You can see the updated numbers there. I will point out the one great thing about this, if you go all the way to the right and look at applications, that's 1,288 applications for next school year. We got 423 applications for kindergarten. Now, we can't put in but 88 kindergarten kids. And in that kindergarten application list is any of our siblings. So if we have siblings in there, they would be in that application list to take care of that. But you can see a very large number of applications have come in this year. I believe it's the most we have ever seen in our 8 years. And so that's really exciting. Previously, our first year was the most, but this is really exciting to see. And some of the feedback I've heard, many other charter schools are seeing a decrease in their applications, and we saw an increase. So I think that it says a lot to me about what our families are saying to other families, because we don't do a lot of advertising, we don't do a lot of enrollment things or to drive up our numbers. It's 98% word of mouth from parents who are here to parents who might be thinking about it. So that's just an exciting number to see. And so our lottery, which takes place on Thursday, has to pull out that many names. So lottery will take a little bit longer than it normally does, but that's okay. It's going to be exciting to see that. So that's the great thing about our enrollment. Some of the things, the highlights, the record number of enrollment applications, but I'm really excited about one little thing we did in February, which was our Iron Giraffe Challenge. Our sixth graders read a book called A Long Walk to Water in the Fall, and it's about refugees in the country of Sudan trying to just find clean water to drink. And this organization goes into Sudan and helps them find it. We set a goal to raise $1,000 over the month of February that go directly to this challenge that's aligned with that book. Most of this driven by our sixth graders. It was their idea. And the sixth graders brought it to our teachers brought it to our school leadership team. And we took this on, and the school raised $1,461. So that's a real community thing for something that we won't really see or really touch. But I was really proud of what we did there in raising those funds and surpassing our goals. So that was pretty exciting. Upcoming events, school book fair is going on right now. It's online. You parents, hopefully you've been by there, ordered some books. Third through eighth graders are coming up. And one of the things you'll see, we're going to be taking what is called a mock EOG, which is very much like an end of grade test. Coming up later in March, K5 is going to, or 3-5 is going to take it a little different timing than 6-8. There'll be one in reading and one in math. What we're seeing at this point of the school year is we don't have a whole lot of reliable data on what our kids really know. And so we're trying to generate some of that data or some data so that we can make better decisions about how we need to move forward the last third of the school year to make sure our kids are really growing and learning what they need to learn this last half of the school year. Obviously, the school year has been very, very uneven, to say the least. And I believe our teachers have done a really good job during this whole pandemic. Our kids are really working hard. Our engagement, you'll see here in a little bit, is just really high. But we really need to know what they need to know. And so we're going to run this little assessment to go along with our other check-ins and check-in 2s and 3s that you'll hear a little bit more about in a second. And then field trip day. She stole my thunder on field trip day. We're excited about this. The March 26th is kind of going to be a day of fun as we head into spring break. It's usually a day where people avoid coming to school and maybe don't pay attention as much to the school things as we normally would. But this time we hope that they'll come, have fun, enjoy the day. Rumor has it that some of the schools, some of the classes are going to Disney World. Some of them are taking, heading off to Camp Don Lee, investigating all kinds of different things in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. It's going to be a fun day. Stick close to your teacher. You'll learn more about that. I'll talk more about the school improvement plan 60-day plan goals here in just a little bit. So I'll skip that part here because I put it in the PowerPoint slide. And operational updates. We've gained now 20 additional in-person students. Basically 10 people have gone remote and 30 people have come in person. So we're up about 20 people since we went to Plan A in February. And COVID issues have been minor, especially over the past 2 weeks. We still have an occasional close contact student that may have a sibling or a parent at home that's positive and they have to quarantine from time to time, but we're seeing even less and less of that. We've not had a confirmed case in the school in quite some time. So it's good to see that I think parents are being very respectful. They're being very careful at home. And when they send their kids to school, I think our safety measures inside the building are being effective. And not dropping our guard has been important, and it's been paying off. So as I look at those things, that's really important. And then some of the initiatives we're taking right now to try to meet our goals, even though we're in this weird weird school year, our check-in 2 data for 3rd through 8th graders, we have just gotten that done, and we're beginning to look at it, analyze it, use it in the classroom. And then March the 3rd, last week, we had a big data day for all of our teachers. So we kind of did a lot less in-person teaching for our regular classrooms, and all of them got to diving into their data, whether it was the check-ins or their own assessments or iReady assessments for our K2 readers and all of that. And we've developed like a 60-day plan that'll run from last week up to about the time we take check-in 3. And then we'll kind of develop another 60-day plan that will help us to go from check-in 3 to the end of the school year. So we're still driving student learning. We think it's important, even in the midst of a pandemic. And so that's really what the next part about the school improvement plan is. So let me get back here. So if you can pull up the PowerPoint, I'll walk us through our school improvement presentation and get going through that. That's our title slide. I made it just for the board. And every year we create a school improvement plan that directs some of the things. A lot of it has to do with our Title I budget and things like that. And that's important. So we always present our goals to the plan, but the first thing we do is talk about our comprehensive needs assessment, where we take a look at all of our data from the previous school year to kind of write and plan for the upcoming school year. Well, by the way, last year ended, we have little to no data on how our kids were really doing by the time we got done. So that was one of the things that were really, really hard and beginning to put this plan together. We have such very limited data from last school year. And normally in this process, you take last school year's data and plan forward a school year. And so the needs assessment this year is very limited. So what we have done is turn to current data and this data that we would have garnered over this school year to kind of talk about and lead this look through this plan to see how we can improve. It's still very limited. Some of the things that hinder us on some of that data is, for example, our K2 scholars are using iReady as their main reading assessment. And when we started at the beginning of the year, they take a beginning of the year assessment. Well, a lot of them received a lot more assistance on that assessment than they needed and should have had. And so they scored much higher on that assessment than they should have. The one example I've seen during some observations I did, had a kindergarten student who wasn't even working on kindergarten grade level, couldn't recognize letters or sounds, which is fine because that's what kindergarten's about. However, she scored on that beginning of year assessment as a third grade reader. And so she is going to show very negative growth over the school year. It's not that little girl's fault. Mom and dad were probably really helping her more than they needed to. And well, what it ends up being is that student, it's going to be very hard to judge how that student has progressed over the school year because that first beginning of year assessments. And we ran into that. So when we're looking at our comprehensive needs, we did our best to look at our numbers, but take it all with a grain of salt and think we're going to do the best we can with the numbers we got. But we're really concentrating on what we saw just last week with check-in twos and what we saw in middle of year assessments with our K2 scholars. And so that's where we're looking at with our comprehensive needs assessments. Even when we looked at parent and staff data, our parent survey and staff survey at the end of the school year was so different than the year before because it was taken during the pandemic, taken while we were working remotely. While it was good data to look at, you can't compare it from the year before saying, did we do better? Did we do worse? What can we draw from it? The questions were so different. So very different for the comprehensive needs assessment. Go to the next slide, Melissa. So what we did in working with NHA is that we did a 60-day plan. And basically the 60-day plan was to cover like February and March. And so that's kind of what we wrote. And then we'll get to another one early April and go plan another 60 days, April to May. And so really taking a short window, trying to look at data and see what we need to do. So we did it in 3 different areas: pacing, performance, and I always get my third one because I keep wanting to say proficiency, but pacing was to make sure that every standard that we were going to assess in the assessments we were using got covered. We found that when we got to really check in one and those first assessments at the beginning of the school year, because we had started remote, because we'd started unevenly, we were behind in getting to the assessment, making that assessment not as reliable as we wanted. So we wanted to make sure when we got to assessment number 2 here, that everything had been covered. And so the kids should be able to answer those questions. And so that's goal number 1 with our pacing. So we calendarized it, we followed through in 03s, each teacher made a plan, and then you can see the check-into update, which we're writing this school improvement plan at the same time we're taking these assessments. But the update is that last Wednesday, we used a lot of that data to kind of make and craft the rest of this plan. Go to the next slide, Melissa, and I believe we'll see the performance SMART goal. So as we were writing this, we wrote a goal that 75% of our students would score proficient on kind of mid-year assessments in reading, math, and science. So we found the cut scores that we wanted to hit. We provided our data to analyze it. We've created plans to move between now and check-in 3 when we take the next assessment where we wanted that 75% goal, and we're following that up in 03s. We took check-in 2 to set our benchmark to see where we really wanted to go when we had to check in 3. And there you can see our overall scores. So the first thing we realized is that our 75% proficiency goal was too low. And so the school leadership team met today and hammered out another one that's going to move that up to about 85%. So it didn't get updated for this, but it will get updated before we send them there. So our performance goal is to see about 85% of our students at the proficiency marks on these assessments in April. So got a lot of work to do, got a lot of growing to do, but I think now that we're in and more people are coming to school, better learning, deeper learning is happening. And if you can go on to the next slide, Melissa. I promise you that I will speed up. Oh, you can see here's our performance goals and how each grade level in math and reading performed at proficiency marks. So this is only the percent of students in that grade level that has marked proficient, looking at our check-in 2 scores in 3rd through 8th grade math and reading. Haven't got all our science testing done yet to get a look at that. You can see the numbers there. Ranks very good with a couple areas to concentrate on. The last one is participation. And this is something that these goals were kind of driven by NHA, the facing proficient or performance and participation. And so this is tracking both our attendance, both in person and online, and participation in our assessments. What a lot of other NHA schools have seen is that the number of students taking their assessments was very, very low. However, our check-in 2, 98% of the scholars who could take check-in 2 took it. That's an incredible number in the midst of a pandemic, with people taking it in person and online, because you can take the check-in 2 online at home. But 98% of everyone who could take it took it. And that's incredible. Some schools are having a hard time getting to 50%. So we're so impressed with our families, our scholars, our teachers motivating our kids to be there. So, and then looking at just our average daily attendance, it's at 98%. That's about 2% higher than it normally is over the course of what would be a normal school year. We range about 95, 90, 96%. So right now, honestly, some of the people who are habitually absent have stayed home to be online students. And so they're actually being at school more often than if we were in person. So that kind of takes care of those couple of percent, but we're seeing no drop off in attendance whatsoever. So our participation goals is to maintain that. A couple of other things that I just want to mention. That is the equity plan that we have is new to NHR, new to SEA. It was just created. And during our cross-program monitoring visit, which we had about a month ago, one of the things that was recommended is that we make sure we inform more people about this equity plan. The equity plan is brand new, and so it's not surprising that many people didn't know we even had one. But we do, and here it is. This is a summary of it. It's a 4 or 5 page plan. And so one of the reasons we want to talk about this, we've talked about it. We'll talk about it Thursday at our parent meeting. We talked about it at our school improvement plan meeting with our staff. And basically the equity plan talks about how we train and use teachers inside the building to make sure our students who are at risk get served by highly qualified, motivated, and prepared teachers. So it's mostly about how we support and place our teachers to make sure our at-risk students are cared for by qualified individuals. So we do have a written plan for that, and we want to make sure people were notified of that. So we can go on to the next slide there, Melissa. The other thing that our cross-program monitoring visit cited to us is we haven't spent enough time talking about our parent-family engagement plan. Now, I would challenge all 4 of the parents who sit on the board with us to identify the pages in the handbook that talk about the parent-family engagement plan. Anyone? It is in the parent-student handbook. It is there, and it is written out there, but as part of this plan, and written in the plan, which is something we have never done, it tells us that we need to spend time evaluating the plan, getting feedback from our parents, and seeing if this plan needs to be updated. So on my parent meeting on Thursday, after we're done, I'm providing a survey in which they will have questions about the parent-family engagement plan and how we can improve it. So we are making sure we get in compliance with the state and doing the things that they recommend, as well as actually following through with our parent-family engagement plan. If you need a copy of it, let me know. I can send you a PDF of just the family engagement plan, and I'll be sharing that with our families on Thursday. But basically what it talks about is the many different ways we look to engage our families, both our Title I families, at-risk families, and even our regular, all of our families. So you can see some of these meetings that you see here are directed strictly at Title I families, such as our Title I meetings, or Title I parent meeting, or Title I learning events. Invitations to those events go only to our families who are participating in Title I, because we're a targeted Title I school. But other meetings, like enrollment information meetings, how we bring people in and talk about how you can become part of the school, is open to all parents. And then we have all school meetings where we talk about our curriculum. We have principal copies that talk about everything. Our school open house. All of those things are designed to engage our families in the learning of their scholars at home. Some of them very specific to at-risk or Title I families. Some of them just in the entire school participates in. And so we have all of these different things that go on at the school. But again, that parent-student handbook is in the parent-student handbook. It's in there in its entirety. It's about 5.5 pages long, if you want to look over it. So let's go, please, Melissa. We can move on to the School Improvement Wellness Plan. What I've got, there are 3 slides here, and you can pause and scroll through them slowly. Melissa, I won't read all these goals to you or objectives. Basically, our wellness plan talks about how we make sure what our kids are eating and what we're serving at school fits nutritional guidelines, how we encourage our students to be active, how we encourage our parents to be active, how we encourage people to come in and bring the proper types of snacks when we have snack day and things like that. So the wellness plan goals are written to make sure we are in compliance with the overall wellness plan. Most of them have to do with our lunch and how lunch is prepared and what is served. Others have to do with how we promote physical training or physical activity inside our classrooms and even outside our classrooms at home with our kids to help them stay physically active. Again, all this is on that PDF that I sent you just a few minutes prior to our meeting, and you can read through all of it if you wish. So I think that brings me to the end of that. And does that cover all of the, no, not quite, but I'll stop there before I go on to the summer learning plan to see if there's any questions, because I've been talking a lot.
I think you covered it all very well.
Thank you. The summer learning plan is very easy because this summer learning plan isn't happening. Because the one that the board approves is for retesting students after a summer learning program so they can take the end of grade test again. Currently, the reading test, you would not be able to retest anyway because it's going to be renormed this summer. The math test, which we could test again. However, the state has not cleared retesting for anyone yet. In fact, they haven't even decided how any of the tests are necessarily going to count. And so there's no reason now to make a plan, which we don't normally do, but to make a plan to retest kids after a bit of a summer school. So I have no plan to share with you because right now we do not plan to do a summer sessions with retesting and EOGs. In fact, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be available for anyone because I don't think they're going to allow it this year. So if they do, probably would come back. They will probably give us more time. Normally it has to be done, I think, by April 1st, but I don't even think they've given us a deadline so far. But right now we do not plan to do it. So there's no plan to present to you.
Okay, thank you, Rudy.
And I think that gets it all for me.
Yes, it does. The next thing on the agenda is the board fund report, Melissa. I don't have that page in front of me, I'm sorry.
That's okay, I'll pull it up. So a little under 81,000 in the current available balance for any future resolutions. Can you all see the screen?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you, Melissa.
yes, ma'am,
So that's our current board fund balance.
correct.
Thank you. Deb, do you have a parent representative report you'd like to give?
Well, I haven't really heard that much. I guess no news is good news, maybe. I think everyone seems pretty happy. I don't know, Melissa, if they've been shooting you emails since I've been sick. But yeah, I honestly have not heard anything.
No emails
Good.
this way.
I think Melissa and I have been taking care of those. Hasn't been anything we couldn't handle.
Okay, well, you can send it back to me now. I'm almost better, so.
Well, let's wait
Thank you
until
for
you're really better. Thank you, Deb.
Dear.
For discussion items, we have Form 990. We have the board self-evaluation and evaluation of NHA. We have the Administrative Professionals Week and Teacher Appreciation Week. So Melissa, do you want to go over those with us?
Sure, so Form 990, if you all can see that in your packet, or I can share the screen as well. It's not a very fun form, but of course we have to file it for tax purposes, and it goes on for pages in your board packet. This is just as an FYI to the board that we contacted Deb Wilson to get her permission to use her electronic signature so we could submit this on behalf of the board.
Which we did in a timely fashion.
Yes, ma'am. And that's that on that.
So that's been taken care of.
Yes, that is correct. This piece of board self-evaluation and evaluation of NHA, it's just the PDF file. My coordinator is still completing that. I should have it before the end of this week to send to you so that you can add your feedback either in a Google Doc or Microsoft Word document for you to add your feedback to the evaluation and then bring it to a board meeting. And either Deb, I might be getting this confused with another board. Deb, you and Al, did you do the board evaluation together, or was it a board?
We did it as a board, and he filled in all the answers that he wanted as we were discussing it.
Okay,
But it does take a little
so
while.
maybe I could just put that on the, yeah. Do you want me to put that on the agenda for April? Okay,
That would probably be great.
got it. The next two items, Administrative Professionals Week is coming up April 19th through the 23rd. And it's just a reminder that we like our partner boards in schools to, of course, highlight the office administrator and registrar and any office support staff for all things Summerfield, just to uplift them during that week, a special note, lunch, email, whatever you'd like to do to show them that they're appreciated. And with the week of May 3rd through the 7th being Teacher Appreciation Week, and May 10th through the 14th being National Charter Schools Week, just to let you know that that is coming up for teachers, and start thinking about how partner boards would like to, of course, honor and celebrate the heroes on the front line in classrooms at Summerfield Charter Academy. Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
That's usually at Rudy's suggestion and the time frame. So Rudy, what are your thoughts this year? I mean, we've done sweatshirts, we've done lunch. What would be, I mean, we'd have to do points if we did something like that. What's your suggestion?
Usually you do points during Teacher Appreciation Week.
Okay.
For high 5 points.
High 5 points. I think that's fine. Food is always great, but usually during that week, our parents feed us so much.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
They like to do food.
I haven't seen their plans this year, so I can't tell you what it was, and things are, still just so odd that I don't know what their plans are. But so everybody seem to like those high 5 points. They use them, and they appreciate that. You did a meal and a sweatshirt in the fall, so I think high 5 points would be.
So we could be more generous with high 5 points this time.
Oh, sure, yes.
And I don't know the math on all of that. So we don't want to leave you in the lurch of us not having enough time to allocate the money for it.
I don't know how to require high 5 points. Melissa may know, because normally you set a budget and then Al takes care of it. I don't know how to do that. I don't have that access. So
just send it my way and I'll make it happen. Yeah.
And generally,
I know that the teachers love it because they buy their own whatever they like, or purchase a gift card.
I think that in the past, though, we have allocated from our budget the amount of money that it takes to pay for the high 5 points. And so all I'm saying to Rudy is we want to make sure that we make that allocation in time for them to get the high 5 points for Teacher Appreciation Week.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you could do it this month, but you could do it next month. That's plenty of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't take, it just takes about a day, Deb. It doesn't take long for it to convert over.
I know it, but it takes a board meeting for us to approve the money.
If it's true.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But next month is April's plenty of time for that.
Okay.
And that was all for discussion items.
Okay, so for action items, we have approval of the board minutes from February the 9th. We're not going to have item B, the summer learning program, so we can mark that off. And that makes, and what about the National Charter Schools Conference? Is there anyone who has decided they want to do that? It's an online virtual experience.
And it does count as board development. June 20th through the 23rd, they don't have an itemized agenda yet that breaks down the time of each event per day. But I would like to get any board and or school leadership who are interested in attending by the end of April. So I get everyone registered.
So if you think that's something you want to do, if you just put in National Charter Schools Conference, it tells you some of the ideas and some of the things that you can see and hear and listen to. The group, the National Charter School group, does a great job of presentations. They're very engaging. I always learn something from them. I've done the conference several times. So since it's all going to be virtual this year, it would be easy if there's some topics on there you think you'd like to learn some more about. And then by next month's meeting, if you want to go, then we can do that in the budget as well.
Hey, Deb, I'm interested in going. I can give you a firm yes or no next month,
Okay.
or attending virtually.
That's good, because I think you would probably really like it, Vanessa. The people are very engaging. The sessions are not long, and they run continuously, so you can choose the ones you like. So that means we only have two action items, the minutes, and we're not going to approve board funds tonight because we don't know how many people, correct? We're going to save item C for next month.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just have one, and that's the approval of the board meeting minutes. If someone would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve action item A.
And a second, please.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And the next thing on the agenda is board member comments.
Nothing for me. It seemed like
I want to
a
ask a
pretty
question.
calm month.
I want to ask Rudy about his stress level and teacher stress level in 4th grade and 2nd grade, where they've got more students than anybody else. I want to hear how it's going. How are they doing?
I don't want to, sugarcoat it, but things are really in person going rather well. But the one thing I think 4th grade struggles with is that there are so many people in person. It's hard to spend enough time with the people who are remote. So I know they're spending, trying to use Wednesdays a lot, working closely with the kids who are fully remote. 2nd grade's got a nice balance going on. They're not near as full as 4th grade. But I think it's one of those things that once, the apprehension about getting started with people in person, or having that many got done, and that we weren't sending kids home right and left because they were sick, and people weren't getting sick right and left. I think they fell into a good rhythm, and they like it. They like that the kids are in front of them. So they've made a good adjustment. I don't think their stress levels necessarily any higher or lower than anybody else in the building. And it really feels like I want us to be careful, but it feels like the COVID level stress is beginning to decrease. And we don't feel as scared or nervous about that piece. Even though I still think, we need to be careful and follow all the different protocols we have in place, because those have been paying off. But I think that's getting them to concentrate more on student learning and progress, which is what they want to do. So,
Well, we want every teacher at school to know that we're thinking about them, and this is hard. It's hard for them, and how much we appreciate them doing it. And I think the more that they do it, the more confident you can become that you can control the safety element. And that's the biggest thing for all of us, is the safety element. I just want them to know that we worry about them every day. We haven't forgotten.
Certainly pass that along, but I think they are encouraged themselves that they're not as scared about it as maybe they thought they would be. And we're getting to talk more about the things that they're used to talking about as teachers. You know,
good.
student learning assessment, student growth, in those types of things. So I think that's good. You know, that being said, it's March, and March is the dark month of teaching. You know, Deborah,
Yes.
you know, Ashley, if you've been a teacher, it's a long time between.
A long time from March to April.
Yes. And even though spring break is coming early this year, which is good, you know, you don't normally get a lot of breaks. You know, the weather's cold, it's dark. It's dark when you come to school, it's dark when you go home for a long time. And so we're starting to come out of that. You know, days are getting a little longer, sun's coming out. We've seen 70 degrees. I mean, you know, people's moods will be improving. So this is not a great time to ask teachers how they are, because it's been a long winter, but the warm days have really helped. You know,
Good.
it's really nice when you can go outside for carpool in your shirt sleeves and not have to wear your coat and hat and gloves and all of that. So it'll be turning around.
Well, above all, I'd want them to know we're thinking about them and worrying about them every single day and wishing them well.
Well, I'm I'm really proud of them. This year has been really hard, and but they've really responded, and I think the responses from our families and the way kids are showing up at school, even remotely, and all that, it's just a real testament to what they are doing, that the kids want to be there with them, even if it's through a computer screen. I still want to be a part of that. And so it's a real testament to them, but I'll certainly pass on your care and concern to them.
Well, we do care. Above all, we care.
I know you do.
Well, that's all I wanted to know. Anybody else? If not, we can have an adjournment, a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
And a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for this additional screen time